Welcome back to Proline. We've got an interesting show today. Obviously, it's just Dave and I. The other guys are on vacation. Dave, why do we work and they can take vacations?
I don't know. Something about, the weather gets cold here in Las Vegas and they can't take it and they have to.
And it's not seniority because we'd be the senior people should be taking vacations.
Well, I suppose so, but we're tougher than they are.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Bowl games. Let's talk about this. I think we got the two right teams, the correct teams in the championship game. I hate to say that because I do like TCU a lot, but I really do believe Oregon and Auburn belong there. Interesting here, Oregon was 18-1 on this early line early in the season, and Auburn was 75-1. Auburn is 3-point favorite over Oregon in this game.
Yeah, they played some great football down the stretch too. And
Cam Newton.
That might have been their most dominating game against South Carolina.
Oh, they killed them.
They just absolutely killed them.
Yeah.
I had, interestingly enough, strength of schedule does matter. I had TCU as my personal #1 rated team on my power ratings almost all season. But they did get caught at the end of the year by both Auburn and Oregon. So technically on the power ratings, I would have the same two as well. But, let's face it, that's not the way you're supposed to decide it because TCU they're just as unbeaten as Auburn and Oregon, and they should have their chance. Unfortunately, the setup is what it is. From a fan standpoint, I think it's the worst thing ever created. It really is mind-boggling and totally illogical how a sport can stress the regular season over the championship season. That makes no sense. No other sport does that. It's stupid. But from a handicapping standpoint, I hope they never change it because it is, from an analytical standpoint where you're trying to get an edge on one side or the other, there's no question that this system is a better system for us than if we had a playoff system where we know everybody be up for every game. You can find games where, and I'm not telling you something that, if you get the time to research it yourself and you know where to look, you can find these games yourself, but if you can't, call one of us. Bottom line is there are situations out there where you've definitely got huge motivational edges on one side over the other, and they pay off every year.
There's no question about that, but I think what you're saying is if we had a playoff system, we wouldn't have the bowl games. And I disagree with you. Actually, we could have the bowl games and a playoff system by just taking the top-rated clubs and doing a round-robin kind of situation. We have 34 games going on here. That's 68 teams out of 130-some?
120.
120-some teams. There is no reward. I always thought it's about making money. There's a lot of bowl games because the bowl games want to make money. The bowl sites want to make money. But you tell me that actually the teams can actually lose money.
Oh, they get killed. Most of the schools that are playing in these bowl games will lose money. That's just the way it is. They don't sell their ticket allotments. It costs them a fortune to send, we're not talking about sending a basketball team. We're talking about sending an army of people, with players, other people connected with the program, coaches, physicians, all that stuff, cheerleaders, bands. It costs these schools a ton of money, and they basically never get it back. Again, I've talked about this book before. It is absolutely terrific. It's one of the best reads. Yahoo, Dan Wetzel and Jeff Passan, who are writers for Yahoo, put together a book called Death to the BCS, and it really explains how incredibly corrupt this system is and why it exists. And find it at your local bookstore or order it online. It's an absolutely extremely well-written book, and you will know after that, next time you hear Hancock or any of these other shills for the BCS talking, they're liars. Okay, plain and simple. They are flat-out liars. And Wetzel and Passan have that all documented. It's terrific. But it doesn't mean the system's going to change because there are some individuals that are making a ton of money off it. It's just not the schools.
Well, the organizers of the bowls make a ton of money.
They sure are.
Why do the teams work so hard to get in a bowl game when they know their school's going to lose money?
Well, from a coaching standpoint, you still derive tremendous benefit out of it.
Yeah, but that's an individual.
Well, no,
what does the school benefit from it?
Well, the school, they don't.
Why do it? Why support if you're a businessman in a tough economy, why would you want to send your team to a bowl game if you're going to lose $1 million or $2 or $5 or whatever it is?
You get it back somehow, and for the individuals involved, it's a lot of fun.
It doesn't sound like good business.
No, it's not good business. Now, the one benefit of it, if I'm a college coach, boy, do I want my team to get into a bowl, even if it's the Emerald Nut Bowl or whatever it is. It's a bowl game. You get all that extra practice time. And that's good for the next season.
I remember
it's also very good for recruiting.
I remember years ago we used to talk about the toilet bowl. but this one isn't the toilet bowl. This is actually a very good game. It should be a great game. Auburn is 3, and the total is 74.5. So we're expecting, what, 80 points, 100 points? Could be.
I'm looking at the game going, who's going to stop who in this game?
Well,
Wow.
I don't see how. It's totally. It's going to be a war.
Again, from a purely enjoyable standpoint, there are actually some really good bowl matchups this year.
Yeah, there are.
It's too bad they don't mean something. But, TCU Wisconsin is a compelling football game.
I'm very interested to watch that game because I think both teams are going to show up with a big effort. One of the games I was talking to you about earlier is Boise. I mean, just what a disaster. I feel bad for the kicker. I mean,
so do I.
Anybody can miss a kick, and obviously he got choked up, and it was a big pressure kick. And they weren't used to having big pressure kicks because they beat everybody by 50 points. But the one guy blows the whole season, and there goes the BCS, and now they got to play Utah. And I really don't know if they care about going or coming, I should say, to Las Vegas to play Utah.
The interesting thing, though, is here's what gets weird about this game. It's always been kind of a game where you look at the Mountain West team being the home team and maybe being a little more interested in it for conference pride. But Utah, this will be their last game, basically, as a Mountain West team because they're leaving to go play in the Pac-10. So, I don't know how that goes. And Boise is the team that's joining the Mountain West. So it's kind of weird. Utah proved to be an overrated football team. I think we found that out late in the season. They got run over in a couple of games. But I think what Jim said just now, I think what you said definitely has some merit. I don't know how Boise State can really be revved up for this.
I mean, they've had years where they've just win every game, almost every game. And now they're coming down here to almost, over a 2-touchdown favorite in a game they really probably don't want to play. Let's talk a little bit about last year. Bowl games last year, 20 underdogs covered, 13 favorites. Interesting thing about the underdogs, 16 of them actually won the game straight up, and some of them were 10 and 11-point underdogs as well. So the point spread really doesn't matter in some of these spots.
It's where you
just pick the winner.
I think you more strongly consider money line underdog plays if you can get the right value. The odds makers aren't dumb, and what you have to do is you have to know how to correlate what the money line is supposed to be on a game as to what it actually is on the board based on the spread. You got to be able to do that because what you don't want to do is get robbed on value as far as that money line's concerned. But if you can get value, it's the time of year where if you like the dog, you're probably a little better off looking at a money line situation in these bowl games because
it may not be an either or situation. I know some players that actually will take a 10-point underdog and take the point spread and make, say, a $200 or a $500 bet on the point spread. But they'll take the money line and bet 50 or 100 on that, somewhat less than they bet on the point spread because they don't have that cushion. But if they happen to hit the money line bet, they're also covering the point spread.
That's for sure.
And the opposite, if they hit the point spread and they're betting more on it and they lose the money line, they're still ahead money. So it's really not a bad little system.
Now, let me throw a few tips, by the way, at you for how you can get good information out there. Obviously, number one is take advantage of our bowl packages because we're going to win. But on your own, this is where Twitter and Facebook are absolutely awesome social applications. Let me give you an example of something that happened earlier this week. I'm not going to get into the team or the player, but a player for a certain basketball team actually tweeted himself, "Boy, my knee's really sore." This was the day of a game. That's good information. What you'll find leading up to the bowls is a lot of these players on different teams have these Twitter accounts, and they post stuff on there that basically is, I'm not saying it's giving away winners or losers, but you can certainly get a direction and a feel for how they're approaching a game. It's good stuff. So,
it's truly the information age.
I'm telling you.
You can pick up your telephone, your screen, your television. I mean, there's information everywhere.
Well, the Denver Broncos,
it's actually some different. It's hard to digest it all because it's like 24 hours a day flying at you from everywhere. But it's good stuff.
The Denver Broncos actually tweeted the firing of their head coach this week. There was no press conference first. They actually tweeted on their own account, Josh McDaniels fired. That tells you, anybody who, this is why I don't do that Twitter-de-do or whatever. Let me tell you something. If you're in this business or if you're trying to win money or having anything to do with sports gambling and you're not following as many people who can provide you with substantial information as possible, you are, you're obsolete. You're an anachronism, and you're not going to win.
You know, we're gonna break here and come back with some pro football. But the funny thing about Twitter and Facebook and all that, people are actually telling their mates that our relationship is over, we're getting a divorce, and they read it on Facebook or Twitter. I mean, I'd say that's a little cold, but we'll be right back. We're going to talk some football. The bowl matchups are set and the lines are up. You can start cashing in right now with all of my executive football releases from now straight through the BCS championship game for just $49. That's both college and pro winners, including my bowl game of the year when you make the call right now to 1-866-841-1655. Even better, call now and use the code word Christmas, and you'll also get an entire week of basketball as a free bonus. That includes a huge high roller play as well. Bowl game action, pro winners starting this weekend, and basketball all for one low price. Call 1-866-841-1655. And don't forget, free plays each and every day. Just text the word WINNER, W-I-N-N-E-R, to 313131, and you'll get free plays sent to your phone each and every day. That's two great ways to cash in this weekend. Text WINNER to 313131 or make the call to 1-866-841-1655 for my early bird special.
Hi everyone, I'm Dave Koken, and I'm here to tell you about my annual College Bowl Bonanza, which this year comes with a monster free bonus. Now, as always, the Bowl Bonanza is set up so that you get a rated selection on every single bowl game. It might be a side, it might be a total. You'll get a play on every single bowl game. But this year there's more, because I've got my NFL Game of the Year going this weekend. You're going to get that as well. Plus, you'll get my College Bowl Game of the Year. That's the Bowl Bonanza. $49, 1-866-841-1665. Let me give you that again. A rated selection on every single bowl game, including my Bowl Game of the Year, plus this Sunday's NFL Game of the Year, and it's all for only $49. Don't pass this one up. Call now 1-866-841-1665 and get set to collect the entire holiday season.
Welcome back. We got a couple of pro football games to talk about. It's getting real exciting, Dave, at the end of the football season. We got, 8 or 9 teams that really have a chance at it, and the rest of them you can kind of eliminate.
Does anybody still have a chance after what we saw on Monday night? Holy cow.
Oh.
Is that the best coached team, as well-coached a team as you'll ever see? They have...
Oh, that's amazing.
If you look at New England, statistically on defense, they're really not very good. They've got the big hyphen at running back who nobody ever heard of it before this year. They've got a guy who is basically our size playing wide receiver. And then they bring back another guy who's a smurf playing the other side. But Brady is as good as it gets, and Belichick is as good as it gets. And I'm not saying they're 42 points better than the New York Jets, but they were on Monday night, and boy, in a big game.
You know, first
tough.
of all,
Wow.
you should never give your opponent what they call blackboard or bulletin board material. And Rex Ryan, I know he's a sharp guy. He's kind of funny. He does a lot of funny stuff. I kind of enjoy him. I think the players like playing for him. But he needs to do more coaching and less talking. Because when you say, I'm going to go to New England and kick his ass or kick their ass, that's bulletin board material. That's not showing respect for a team that has this type of winning record. They almost never lose at home. They won, how many Super Bowls? 3? 3 Super Bowls?
Should have been 4.
And you can't just disrespect people. Now, they had the Hard Knocks show, and I think there's a target on the Jets' back because of the things that they've done and the bravado, and all that's great. That shows confidence.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not real confidence. It's just a lot of, braggadocious stuff. They had off of bye weeks when they have extra time to prepare for teams. Belichick wins everything. But the Jets don't. They do terrible. And they go up to New England. They're obviously going to be an underdog. And you don't say, we're coming in here to kick your ass. You say, hey, we're going to play a tough football team, and we respect them. The Patriots were on a mission on Monday.
Were they ever?
They were on a mission, and they kicked ass. I'm not sure what happens to the Jets after that.
It's going to be interesting.
If you go back the previous few weeks, they won 2 overtime games.
They were lucky to beat the Browns.
Oh, totally. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yep.
And close games. They had some close games. They got shut out by Green Bay at home.
I think
their last bye week, the bye week they had when they came out of the bye week, they come out to and they're home against Green Bay. They got shut out in that game. This team needs to do more preparation, more coaching, and less talking. They are a good football team. I actually thought they had a real good chance to win the AFC because I do believe in the coach. I do believe in the coaching staff. I believe the team and the players are talented. Sanchez is a little bit of a mystery still. He's a young guy. He's got a lot to learn. He has the talent and he has the potential. But they got to get on the field and prove who they are. You got to remember last year, they got into the playoffs basically because the Colts pulled their players at halftime.
Yeah, that's right.
Then they go out to the
The Colts ended up hurting themselves.
Oh, they killed themselves.
And
that was one of the worst decisions I've ever
terrible
seen.
Decision.
But then in the playoffs, the Jets go out to San Diego and beat Norv Turner's team. Well, guess what? Norv Turner's a nice guy, but that's a soft football team. And Oakland proved it this week.
Oakland went in and
kicked their ass.
They did.
And the Oakland players said, we have to get back to who we are. We're a smash-mouth, physical football team. And that's what they did to San Diego. Now, this game here, we got the Raiders going across country after the big emotional game against San Diego. That's a big rivalry game. The Jags, I don't know what happened with this Jaguar team. They were horrible. And now, all of a sudden, I think they've covered 4 or 5 in a row.
They're in first place.
Yeah. I mean, and the Colts are a disaster right now, which would be their biggest rival, because they have so many injuries. So, I mean, this is a very interesting game. The Jaguars are kind of a small favorite in this game.
Yeah, and the Jaguars are winning games despite not really having all their guys out there every week. You know, Sims Walker was out last week, who's a
he might be
receiver.
back. They're talking about him being
but
back.
He didn't play last week. They
I know.
got the job done anyway. Their quarterback's kind of an overlooked guy, but you know what? You can go back to his days at Marshall. His teammates love him. Not Marshall. I'm blanking on the school. East Carolina. East Carolina. Excuse me. Right conference. Right church. Wrong pew. This guy is a quarterback who gets respect from his teammates, and he's not always on his game, but when he is, he can be very hot.
He's a tough physical guy. He gets a pounding out there.
The running back out of UCLA was a heck of a football player. Del Rio, who was a guy coming into the season, basically lame duck. You know, he's
on the hot seat for sure.
I don't know.
Now.
I don't know how hot that seat is anymore.
I think the city's on a hot seat. They
are
actually end up losing their franchise because they don't support their team.
Well, but you know the problem is it's not the biggest market in the world. They're only like
L.A. is looking for
market.
a team. And they're talking to San Diego.
It's the 40s. I think it's like barely a top 50 market, Jacksonville, and it's tough because you just don't have the
plus the economy is bad down there.
Absolutely,
yeah, that's hard.
But there are a lot of things going against the Oakland Raiders in this particular football game. They are coming off a huge rivalry sweep, as it turns out, because remember, they'd lost like, I think, 12 or 13 in a row to the Raiders, to the Chargers coming into the season. They swept them. 2 big wins for Oakland. And now they've got to do the cross-country journey.
And next week, Denver.
Yeah.
So this is a sandwich, too.
It's a tough spot.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's playing some good football. It's in the line. You got to pay. I mean, Jacksonville's not an underdog anymore. But Jaguars look like they might win this football game.
Very well. You know, in these cross-country trips, west to east, have never worked out for the West Coast teams. I think earlier in the year they had a couple of them. They went to Pittsburgh, lost 38-13. And there might have been another one in there. 28-13 against Tennessee. I know we're off the subject here, but what has happened to Tennessee? I mean, this team, they scored 6 points last week against the Jags. They're really playing very poor football. Did the Vince Young thing tear this team apart?
I don't think it can.
Does that matter? Not matter?
No, I think it's got to have an impact.
It really? I mean, maybe the coach and the owner have a little bit of a problem as well, maybe?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, Bud Adams wanted Vince Young. I don't think Jeff Fisher ever wanted him, and probably still doesn't want him.
No, of course, the guy they wanted, he hasn't even taken a snap this year, I don't think.
Who's that?
The Fisher-Chow faction wanted Matt Leinart.
Oh, yeah.
That hasn't exactly worked out either.
Well, Arizona got rid of Matt Leinart, and what they have, I think they might want Matt Leinart back. You know, I mean,
no, what they want is Kurt Warner back. It's like, come out of retirement, please.
We're going to be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm Dave Koken, and I'm here to tell you about my annual College Bowl Bonanza, which this year comes with a monster free bonus. Now, as always, the Bowl Bonanza is set up so that you get a rated selection on every single bowl game. It might be a side, it might be a total. You'll get a play on every single bowl game. But this year there's more, because I've got my NFL Game of the Year going this weekend. You're going to get that as well. Plus, you'll get my College Bowl Game of the Year. That's the Bowl Bonanza. $49, 1-866-841-1665. Let me give you that again. A rated selection on every single bowl game, including my Bowl Game of the Year, plus this Sunday's NFL Game of the Year, and it's all for only $49. Don't pass this one up. Call now 1-866-841-1665 and get set to collect the entire holiday season.
The bowl matchups are set and the lines are up. You can start cashing in right now with all of my executive football releases from now straight through the BCS championship game for just $49. That's both college and pro winners, including my Bowl Game of the Year, when you make the call right now to 1-866-841-1655. Even better, call now and use the code word Christmas, and you'll also get an entire week of basketball as a free bonus. That includes a huge high roller play as well. Bowl game action, pro winners starting this weekend, and basketball, all for one low price. Call 1-866-841-1655. And don't forget, free plays each and every day. Just text the word WINNER, W-I-N-N-E-R, to 313131, and you'll get free plays sent to your phone each and every day. That's two great ways to cash in this weekend. Text WINNER to 313131 or make the call to 1-866-841-1655 for my early bird special. Welcome back. We're going to take a look at the Rams visiting the Saints. You know, Dave, the Saints team started out a little shaky this year. They're 9-3 right now, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
They haven't covered very many spreads. They're 4 spreads, that is. 4-8 against the spread.
Typical Super Bowl champion, not having a good.
They started out terrible.
Yep.
You know. Now this Ram team, I mean, you got to like Sam Bradford coming out of Oklahoma. I mean, this kid was hurt last year in college, and nobody knew what would happen. But this kid does play well. He's very sharp.
Yeah, he's
very sharp player.
His Wonderlic score was off the charts. I mean, he's a
better
really
than
smart.
Vince Young's.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
He's a really sharp.
Yeah, he's very sharp.
And the Wonderlic, I know what the Wonderlic test is. I've actually taken it.
Didn't you tell me you failed it 8 times?
It's not really an indication of how smart you are. It's more the ability to reason quickly, because what it is, it's a lot of questions. A lot of them are fairly easy, but it's such a short period of time. You have to answer 50 questions in 12 minutes, and try it. There's samples on the internet that you can. Well, you'll get like 16 questions in 4 minutes. You'd be surprised how difficult it is, because you can misread where a punctuation
If you don't
mark
instantly
is.
know the answer, you're stuck.
Well, it's not just that, but you have to be very diligent about reading the question properly. They may have maybe a math question where it's a real easy question, but they'll have the decimal point and you might miss it and you get the question wrong. So what it is, it's a test that allows people to see your ability to reason quickly and to pay attention to detail. It's not so much a question of how smart you are, although it doesn't hurt, certainly. Bradford's score was ridiculously high.
Well, you can tell by talking to him.
He is made to play quarterback in the NFL. I do think there is something to this test as far as being able to play that position in the NFL, because talk about a position where the ability to reason quickly is of paramount importance.
Well,
He's good at that.
Take a look at Peyton Manning and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, those two guys are smart dudes, and they've done very well.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
he's going to have a good career.
Someone, actually, I don't remember whether it was Terry Bradshaw, someone actually sat down with Bradford and asked him a bunch of questions about offensive football. And he was extremely impressed. This kid really knows what he's doing. So anyway, the guy on the other side of the field, Drew Brees, is pretty good too.
Oh, boy.
What a player. They are the Super Bowl champs, and they are starting to play better. They've had some problems at running back, but they've discovered this new guy, Chris Ivory, who is pretty darn good. They're getting back other players.
Pierre Thomas
might be back
Reggie
Bush. this is still the Super Bowl champ, and their offense has showed they're turning hot. 34 points, 34, 30, 34 the last 4 games. So they're starting to score a lot of points. I can see why some people might actually like this game to go over. The Rams have done well. They're 6-6 on the season. They're 8-4 against the spread, which is remarkably better than what the Saints are doing, the opposite actually. And they're in contention.
Yes, they are.
They are in contention. It's as crazy as that is, but the West Coast NFC is really poor teams. But this team is in contention, but are they up against too much here?
I don't know. Because what we've seen all year is that the Saints have shown enough ability to win football games, despite the fact that they haven't been as good as they were last year. But they're still 9-3 and putting themselves in great position to make another Super Bowl run. And Drew Brees is a guy who can make that happen. At the same time, the Rams are surprised at 6-6, but even better than that against the spread, which means they continue to be really competitive. I think they've got a lot of confidence in themselves. They're not a fluke anymore. I mean, the Rams think, hey, you know what? We're not bad. And they're going out there and playing that way. And I don't know why they can't hang in here. I mean, it's like you keep on waiting for New Orleans to just explode and annihilate some team. But not really happening. And even last week against a pretty bad Cincinnati Bengals team, the Saints only won the game by 4 points. They didn't cover the spread. They don't care about that. All they care about is winning the football game. It's like they're like a team in a horse race. They're not winning by 16 lengths. They're only winning by a nose, but they keep on winning. Might be more of the same this weekend.
The Rams are fundamentally sound, but they don't have the talent that's on the other side of the field here. So you have to kind of look for spots. And when you look at the ATS numbers of a team, what does that really mean? It means, to me, this team is overvalued or has been overvalued because the past doesn't necessarily dictate what the future is going to deliver. So the Saints have been overvalued because they've only covered 4 out of 12 games.
That's a lot of games where the numbers come into play.
Yes,
wow.
Yes. And the other side of it, the Rams are undervalued because they've covered 8 out of 12 games. But does that continue? Because now we see that. And they're not surprises anymore. So you have to look at that factor as well. The other thing that might twist me in this game is the Saints have a big game next week on the road at the Ravens. So they just came off a tough game where they needed an offside penalty to beat Cincinnati on the road.
I can't believe.
Oh, there's some of the. Some of the stuff these people do.
What a mess this team is.
Like Terry Bradshaw. Everybody knew they weren't going to run the play. Well, how could you possibly jump offsides? But now they're going to the Ravens next week. So this is coming off a road game, beating Cincinnati, coming home against what looks to be a soft team. The number, maybe you'd want to take 10 with this guy.
That's the way I'm looking at the game. I can't say I'm going to run to the window with it as a huge play, but I know I'm not laying the points in the game.
No, they're not laying the points. This team could easily be looking ahead to the Ravens.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're still, you'd think by this time the number would adjust, but I still think there's value in playing against the Saints because they're still getting overpriced. I guess
until they start showing me they're not, they're still overvalued.
I don't think that's going to happen because they keep on winning the football games anyway. So there's no reason for the odds maker to make an adjustment at this point. People are still betting the Saints every week. They're just not getting paid, but the Saints keep winning, so they keep on going back and betting
Most people like to bet what they think is the better team, and they bet the favorite and the over, and that's what they generally do. And the bookmakers hate when the favorite and over comes in.
That's why a few weeks ago you had that. It was a really bad week for the house. They have 1 or 2 of those every year, where every key favorite gets there. And
especially when it happens on the Sunday night game, the big TV games, and then the Monday night game. Well, they got away with it on the Sunday night game this week because Pittsburgh and the under came in. Problem is, a lot of people were betting Pittsburgh, but for the bookmaker side, not for our side. And then on Monday night,
that was a toss-up game.
Oh, yeah, 45-3. I mean, tough game.
The opposite happened the week before. Was a really bad week for the house because they had the key favorites all got there, and then the Sunday night game got there, and then the Chargers went out. The Chargers were the Sunday night game, I guess, and they won. And then even San Francisco, as crappy as they are, San Francisco was getting all the money in the game against Arizona, and the 49ers won that game. That was a bad week for the house.
Does Arizona team miss Kurt Warner a little bit?
They are, they're a dismal football team.
Horrible. You know what? We have, Dave, I assume you have a best bet to give the people this week. We're going to come right back and give you a best bet. The bowl matchups are set and the lines are up. You can start cashing in right now with all of my executive football releases from now straight through the BCS championship game for just $49. That's both college and pro winners, including my bowl game of the year when you make the call right now to 1-866-841-1655. Even better, call now and use the code word Christmas, and you'll also get an entire week of basketball as a free bonus. That includes a huge high roller play as well. Bowl game action, pro winners starting this weekend, and basketball all for one low price. Call 1-866-841-1655. And don't forget, free plays each and every day. Just text the word WINNER, WINNER, to 313131, and you'll get free plays sent to your phone each and every day. That's two great ways to cash in this weekend. Text WINNER to 313131 or make the call to 1-866-841-1655 for my early bird special.
Hi everyone, I'm Dave Koken, and I'm here to tell you about my annual College Bowl Bonanza, which this year comes with a monster free bonus. Now, as always, the Bowl Bonanza is set up so that you get a rated selection on every single bowl game. It might be a side, it might be a total. You'll get a play on every single bowl game. But this year there's more, because I've got my NFL Game of the Year going this weekend. You're going to get that as well. Plus, you'll get my College Bowl Game of the Year. That's the Bowl Bonanza. $49, 1-866-841-1665. Let me give you that again. A rated selection on every single bowl game, including my Bowl Game of the Year, plus this Sunday's NFL Game of the Year, and it's all for only $49. Don't pass this one up. Call now 1-866-841-1665 and get set to collect the entire holiday season. When we talk about value, and my best bet this week here on the show is value on the Rams. I don't think they're going to beat the Saints. I'd be surprised if they do, but I expect them to cover a big inflated point spread. So the Rams plus the points, the best value out there. The best value in terms of handicapping and what I offer is this package. I believe this is the best offer that I have annually, because you get a ton of stuff over a lengthy period of time and you win. It's my Bowl Bonanza, $49. You get a rated play on every single bowl game, right from the first one through the BCS championship game. A rated selection on every bowl game, plus you get my Bowl Game of the Year, all for $49. But this year it's even better because my NFL Game of the Year goes this weekend, obviously a huge play. That's included as well. The whole thing, $49, Bowl Game of the Year, NFL Game of the Year, rated selection on every single bowl game. $49, 1-866-841-1665. Hope you're on board for what figures to be another great bowl season.
As Dave mentioned, the Rams are a great value play. I'm going to take the point spread 9.5. I'm going to buy it to 10. I like that side. I mean, the Saints are good, but they haven't started to cover spreads yet. Maybe they will starting this week. Maybe they won't. But I like the dog here. I don't think they're going to win it straight up, but I like the Rams plus the points. Let's talk about an early bird bowl special. Each and every year we do something like this. All the college and pro football games through the BCS championship game, $49. Just call 1-866-841-1655. And that includes my Bowl Game of the Year. That's right, 1-866-841-1655. When you make the call, mention the word Christmas, and you're going to get a free week of college basketball as well. That's 1-866-841-1655 for my Bowl Game of the Year, my bowl package, and a free week of college basketball. And don't forget, if you want winners each and every day, text to your phone. Just text WINNER, WINNER, to 313131. And don't forget, we're going to be here again next week. You be here too.